Sweet.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Agent Dooley here, your boy. So last time we spoke, I told you we were doubling down on DHA. We're really going crazy. So this is actually the newest office space that we got down in Sandy Springs. You can see we got a beautiful view of the King and Queen buildings right here. So this is it, man. A little small 6-room office. This is where the magic happens. So we make sure to get monitors for everybody. So my partner sits where I sit. We got our 2 lead managers, and then our other 2 lead managers that come and sit here.
And you guys are the youngest people in the building.
The youngest people in the building, man. So first off, you can tell it's like we're like one of the first people to actually kind of settle down up on the 8th floor. So it's real quiet. Get to do our own thing. You know, we got Nerf guns, basketballs. We're trying to make like a cool culture environment. But man, it feels really good to have like a headquarters where people can come, they can feel safe, they can work and grind and make some fucking money, man. So this is the spot.
Hell yeah, let's go talk about it.
Let's do it, bro.
It is another day to be great. My name's Charbel, Milan. Today we got
Agent Dooley.
And just like every other time, we are back. So, man, before we get going, it's kind of hard for someone to not know you if they've been watching the channel. But just for the people who are new, that don't know you, don't know what you do, if you just want to take a moment and just get them up to speed before we get going.
Sure. So quick recap on myself. So, you know, the biggest thing about me is I own a real estate acquisition company here in Atlanta called Diamond Home Acquisitions. We're actually, this is our first, showing actually at the office. So it's pretty exciting. So I've been in real estate for about 4 years since I was 19. I'm 23 now. Anything from wholesaling, having my real estate license, fix and flips, rentals, anything under the sun. And then I also have an online course called Side Money University where I teach people how to make an extra income online. So that's been a big, thing of my brand, teaching people around the world how to, kind of expand their horizons when it comes to finances. So, pretty much if I were to break myself down, I do a lot of real estate. I do a lot of online businesses, and I'm a straight up hustler.
Well, that's fantastic. And we're going to cover all of those things like we always do. But the number one thing I want to go ahead and stress is if anybody is to go and watch the first episode we did, you talked about this. You manifested and you predicted. You said, all right, we've done whatever we've done in the past, but just started Diamond Home Acquisitions. We're about to take it serious and we're about to go full on. That was before the office. That was before the King and Queen building. That was before the team of how many people?
Yeah, so we have 11 people on our team right now.
Damn. Before the 11 people, before all the sales, it was just the idea. It was just the logo, you, the idea, and, your experience. Yeah. So what took you to the next level besides obviously believing in yourself? What were some of the things that just took you to making it a reality?
So, firstly, like I said, I've been in the real estate space for a minute. So it wasn't like I just was throwing, a spear out in the dirt or whatnot. I had the vision of what I wanted to do. I'd actually planned the business out 30 days beforehand. The logo and the name and all that are really unimportant. Really what's important is the structure. How can we create a business model that eventually we can leave and still have money coming in? So the structure, that was very important, which means how many roles do we have? What people fill those roles? What type of responsibilities need to be filled or need to be had to fulfill that role? How can that person move out? What type of things do we give them to do? How do we incentivize them? Those are very important things that I had structured out. Of course, as you are structuring a business, you kind of revamp those things every day as you see what works and what doesn't work. But I guess the biggest thing was just going all in. We hit a 50K week, what was that, in March? Or no, the month before March. And, the first thing we did was get this office and hire more people on and up our rate, our wages. And I guess the biggest thing was just investing everything back into the business to make it so, it could be smoother instead of taking the profits and going on a vacation, just dumping it back into what I knew worked and doubling down on it. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to new businesses, they're scared to go all in because they're scared to lose. For me, I didn't, losing wasn't really even in the back of my mind. So it's something that I knew was going to work. All I needed was to create a structure and an entity to put the hustle through. And, it worked out. Obviously we're still in the starting stages. We started in about January. We've closed multiple deals every single month since then. We're already a 6-figure business basically, but it all just started from, starting out. I know where I want to go. I know what the end game is. So I need to already prepare myself and fill those shoes for the business I want to be. So I already need to think about, PR, public relations, and how we're going to deal with terminations and hirings and all that stuff. And I've never really thought about things as in depth of that in other businesses, but I already was thinking ahead of, I can't get to where I want to go if I don't, already fill those shoes. So I couldn't come into like an amateur wholesaler or this or that. I had to be an actual business, you know?
The crazy part about you, man, and your team specifically is, especially during March, when the whole world was just kind of going into a lockdown, a panic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. We all know the reasons. I would just go through ads and ads and ads of how can you help? How can you sustain your business? Protection loans, payment, employee, all these ways that people were trying to save their business.
Yeah.
And then I go click on your story and I'm just seeing cold calls, appointments, closings, the team's growing, content. It was weird because it was almost like in you guys' company, it was just parallel to what was happening in the rest of the world. And I hate to keep talking about Corona, but just to get it out of the way, what was the energy behind just March, man? Because you guys were fresh into the office and then the economy crashes.
Yeah, it was tough. And I'm not going to sit here and act like, we weren't, worried, because I remember the first time when we really became worried is when we sent out a super good deal and nobody bid. We actually had people message us and say, hey, I'm not buying for the next 90 days because of coronavirus. And these are buyers like hedge funds, people with millions of dollars that are, big buyers for us. And so when that happened, we were scared. We sat in this very room, it was about 9 or 10 of us, and we said, okay, Corona is a thing that is affecting our business. What are we going to do about it? People are saying, okay, maybe we can, stop for 30 days and no, we could not afford to do that. I could not come out of this coronavirus thing whenever it stopped and be 60, 90, 100 days behind. I said, let's double down on this. People that still want to sell their house and still need to sell their house. So I was thinking, how can I adapt to what's going on? Because I have an office now. It costs $2 a month just to stay here. You know what I'm saying? I can't just break the lease. So we have to find a way to make it work. And for us, that was going to be taking things virtual, doing virtual closings, cold calling a lot more because people are at home and they're willing to, talk to us, and targeting vacant houses, targeting houses that did not have tenants where we could go in there on our own will, take the pictures, do our thing, and get it sold, because people are not wanting to do appointments. So, what are we thinking? Okay, cool. Go to houses where people aren't there, so it was just adapting the business to what I perceived was going to keep happening in the market, which was a lack of client contact. And, going virtual was, seemed like the most heads up way to kind of, tackle that. So it was tough. I mean, to not act like, we're unaffected. We just doubled down and we're luckily able to squeeze some deals out because, we already had systems in place. We just had to double down to have the same results,
So you guys would go to the vacant houses and virtually show them?
Yeah. So sometimes we'd find a way to get inside. So some people, it depends on how messed up the house is. Some houses are so distressed where literally the front door is open. So we can go in there, take our pictures, do our thing. We never have to see the owner. If it's a house where we know it's in a hot area, there's one that was in Decatur 30032. It's a hot area. We never saw the property. We had to offer, sight unseen, wholesale it to the next guy. So you don't always have to see the property, especially when it's on these big hedge funds. They don't need to see the property. They literally take the number you gave them, the asking price, the square footage, and multiply that by how much they think the rehab is and how much they can sell it for, and put it into a formula. And if your asking price is less than that, they'll buy it from you. So there's a lot of iBuyers out there that don't even need to be in the state to buy a property from you. So I don't need to, physically go to a property to lock it in and sell it to the next guy. And it just takes skill and tact to be able to know that you can do those things, so does it skim off the amount of sellers you find? Yeah. But can you still close deals worth 10, we closed a $17,000 deal last month, and, I think we did 3 deals last month. So, but one $17K deal can change your entire business, especially when you're, when the person that's on the end is their first deal. So you're eating and you pay your bills back and you keep moving. So did we make a killing? No, but we were above water. We made good money and we kept it pushing,
See, that's where, correct me if I'm wrong, that's where 1031 comes in handy, because they got to move that money in, 45 days?
Yeah, 1031 exchange. I'm not 100% sure. I actually was thinking about doing one, but I couldn't find my next property in time. I think it's like 45, maybe max 90 days, so, and that's a strategy where, you can use capital that you earn from another deal towards another deal.
Stay tax-free?
And it'll be tax deferred. But we haven't done any of those in our business model yet. So,
see, I remember when we last spoke, you said, and I think we were talking about the course.
Yeah.
you were like, I got to make it work. Like, I have to make it happen. It's not about, will it happen? Can it happen? I got to make it work. And you carried that same mindset into the office space. You took on office space, and probably one of the nicest parts of the business part of Atlanta, for the people that aren't in Atlanta, we're in Roswell, heart of Roswell, King Queen. And you made it work. But I feel like a lot of people saw a lot of like decline in their business, not necessarily because, I mean, some people, don't get me wrong, their business was 100%, human transaction. What can you do? But for the people that just kind of let the anxiety get to them and just kind of, like you said, I guess we're just going to have to stop for 30 days. We're going to have, I feel like the fact that you had that mindset that I have to make it work. I got to make that 1, 5, 6, 7 more calls. I got to get a deal.
Have to.
Do you think that there's something behind having that mindset and applying it in every situation that has led you to even be where we are today?
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about that with my lead manager, Ari. We're just saying you can never get comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're dead. Like, once you get comfortable and you say, I don't need to close the deal, I don't need to do this because I have other money coming in, that's when you die, bro. People will let $100K a year stop them from $500,000, And so for me, bringing on the office space, my bills, personal business, are about $5,000 to $6,000, which means if I don't make any money, I'm out $6,000. You know what I'm saying? Every single month. I don't have a choice to not make money. If I make $6,000 at 23, I made $0 a month. You know what I'm saying? I literally have to make that to break even. And the thing is, I took on those bills, not only because it was needed, but once you take on those responsibilities, bro, you are pushed to a degree that you can't, there's no artificialness in it. Like it's there. The bills are real. You know what I'm saying? I'm not someone that's going to like go homeless if something goes on. I'm very well off or whatnot. But for me, I just cannot be comfortable. I don't know what it is about me. I don't know if it's my mentality of, I know anything can happen and I'm humble. So I know one bad deal or one bad lawsuit or one bad whatever can wipe me out. I'm just incredibly scared of being in a position where I'm financially strapped. I've been there before and I don't want to go there. So for me, I just keep stacking money recklessly. Sometimes it becomes obsessive, but at the end of the day, I'm going to have enough money to take care of myself, my mom, my sister, my girl. And that gives me peace of mind, So I don't know. And when you take on such responsibility, I have a team now. It's not just me. My team needs to eat. I have people who quit their job in the office and said, okay, do you see how dedicated I am now?
Damn.
So who am I someone quits their job and wants to work for me full time and I don't work hard enough to help them get their first deal? It's just not, it doesn't make sense in my mind. It's not even an option. It's not even, something that I can think of is possible. And for some reason, I'm able to really make those like deletions in my mind. Okay, losing, exit out. It's not possible. You know what I'm saying? So, and when you really focus on something so hard, either focusing on bringing it to you or pushing it away from you, the universe helps you, in that mission. So for me, I'm like, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. So why not think positively and put your mental energy towards the things that you want to happen? Because, I always say, what do I say? Expect the worst, but hope for the best. That way you can never get your feelings hurt. So you got to manage your emotions. You got to manage, your mind, bro, because your mind can take you to a scary place or it can put you in heaven on earth. So for me, everything is about managing, my expectations, managing how I think about myself, my team, self-awareness, my business, what success means to me. All these things have to be defined in my mind so that I can, at the end of the day, know, okay, cool. Was I successful today? Yes or no? It has to be definitive. That's just how obsessive I am. I feel like that's a mindset that allows me to thrive,
I love it, dude. You mentioned the salespeople. And when we spoke, it was you, and then I think you had one other guy.
Yeah, so it's me and my partner, Benny. We own the business 50-50. So he's totally like 50% of the whole operation. So everything that's being paid for, we split it down the middle.
And now you guys got 11 people.
Yeah.
Run us down, not only when you guys started realizing that we need more people and that the cost of having those people was worth what we were going to make, but just starting to become, like you said, a leader that people are quitting their job in the office because they believe in your vision. And now you kind of have that kind of like that, I don't want to use certain words because some people get offended, but just that, that pride within the
Yeah,
leadership.
it's like an ego, bro. I mean,
Yeah,
you definitely can get an ego, bro. I'm like, people are literally quitting their job to work for me, and I'm fucking 23, bro. My mom used to work at the King Building, like that's what she worked when she was like 25. Like, don't get me wrong, bro. Ego can definitely tie into entrepreneurship, bro. Like, I have people in my DM every day telling me nice things about what I've done, content, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I can't really let it get to my head because there's someone else on the other side that's doing 10 times and they're younger than me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very egotistical, and as in I know what I offer to the world. I know mathematically I'm a 1% earner. I know all these X, Y, and Z, but at the end of the day, it's not enough. Because to be a 1% earner for being 21 or 23 or whatever, you have to make like 40 grand. That's not enough money for me. I literally spend more money. Yeah, it's like 40 grand. Because think about it, most people are in college. You know what I'm saying? I think your net worth has to be like $20,000 to be a 1% earner for anyone through 25. So yeah, I'm a 1% earner. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a 1% earner, but that means my net worth is 30K. Yay. Like, that's not exciting to me. I literally spend more money than that. So I can't let these numbers from, groups that really haven't pushed themselves make me feel a certain way about myself when I know that that's not the goal that I have in mind. So, going back to your question, when I have these people that are, quitting their jobs and whatever, and really, admire me to the point where they want to, give their all to me, it just pushes me further because it's not just me anymore. If I can't just go back in my crib and, sell courses and make X amount thousand a month and be happy anymore. I can't do that. I have people that depend on me to some people have daughters, brothers, you know what I'm saying? Family. It just gets so deep when it's not just me anymore. It takes all the ego away because not everything is me. Everything is my partner, my team, this, and then me. I eat last. You know what I'm saying? I kill the food, I serve it, and then I eat last. And I feel like it keeps me balanced because it balances out the ego that I used to have back in the day. When I thought I was the shit because I was making $1,000 a day, whatever. And the mindset I'm on now is so much better because I have an abundance mentality. It's not just me making money, me keeping the information. It's how can I make everyone around me successful? Because as a business owner, that's going to make the corporation more successful in the whole. So I just have like a big like family mentality because I know I can make $100K a year easy, but with my team, I can make maybe 250. Does it take more work and more responsibility and more grit, more sacrifice? Yes. But I'm just willing to do that. It's this type of dude I am. I like having my back against the wall. I like, being pressured. I like, having to make sacrifices. It makes me feel like I deserve what I have,
That's that CEO mindset,
yeah.
man.
I like having all the pressure on me. I like, what's it called in baseball? Ninth inning. You know what I'm saying?
Bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, bottom of the ninth. You know what I'm saying? 3 balls, 2 strikes. That's what I perform best. And that's what I feel like my life is 24/7 now. Because I'm running a corporation that people have to succeed in. There's no maybe, So I feel like every day I'm in the bottom of the ninth and I'm just swinging. And I just love living my life off that. And, ease does not excite me.
See, one thing that I really took away that a lot of people that watched the first episode took away that you said, you probably don't even remember saying it, but you said to live like a 1%er, you got to be willing to go through the stuff that the 99% don't want to. And exactly. If not, get out of the way because there's somebody else who's willing to take your place. And it was just so powerful. I was talking to somebody, they're also a business owner. They're like twice my age. And they were just telling me how they really appreciated that you said that because they always felt like they were alone. They always felt like the anxiety, the stress that they were feeling because they wanted to be a 1%er, that it was just them and that everybody else had these successful businesses and they just had these systems that they couldn't figure out. But then you saying that got that specific person, I had this specific conversation to realize that it's everybody, that if you want to be part of the group, you got to go through a lot that a lot of people don't want to go through. So that was back then. But now with the team, the office space, and the growth, how do you feel about that same concept?
I mean, I feel like it just shows it even more now. I mean, like, there's a lot of stress and anxiety. And I mean, like, this is a lot that goes through, they have to go through owning a business. It's like a ship where every time you patch one hole, it's another hole. And you got to go fix this fire, fix this flood, fix this tornado. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always something that is out of line that needs to be put back in line, whether that be, the team culture is a little bit this. Okay, I got to work on team accountability. I got to work on, creating a rule book for the office. I got to work on, there's just so many complex intricacies that go into managing people, because people are the most inconsistent creatures in the world, bro. You know what I'm saying? You can work with the software because it's going to give you the same results every day. You might have someone that comes in one day, they're chipper, they're making calls, they're doing this, they're crushing it. Next week, their friend, gets in a car accident, they're stressed and they're not working out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so many outside things that affect human nature. So when you're dealing with, in my case, 11 people, imagine having to deal with 11 personalities, 11 different people's families, 11 different people's situations, and, monetarily, financially, egotistically, psychologically. There's so many different things. And then we have to somehow create a business that can find a middle ground for everyone and create this type of consistency where everyone can come into the business and know, okay, this is what's expected of me. This is what I should and shouldn't be doing. This is where I can have the most success. It's very difficult. I don't know why this just turned off randomly.
Maybe if we can just... Oh, I'll hit the light real quick. Stay tuned.
There we go. I think it's like a motion sensor or something like that.
Maybe it turns on when we say stay tuned.
Yeah. But
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, man, it's just like, I don't know. It's a lot, and it's good because I like staying busy, So, but a lot of people, they just fold under pressure, bro. They don't want to have to deal with everything that it takes to own a business that's going to do $1 million. But they want to have a business that does $1 million, but they don't want to deal with the back end that it takes to create a business like that. Especially creating one. Sustaining one, it's kind of simple. Stuff's already in place. You just manage it. But creating those systems is very hard. Every business has their own way of doing it. Chick-fil-A, they've mastered the customer service. Like, you think it's just coincidental that every single Chick-fil-A has decent customer service? It's because they created a system that basically enforces that consistency. And it's amazing. I don't know how every person they hire has been so vetted. I don't know what their process of vetting is. I don't know what their process of cleanliness. And, I've never got my order wrong. Like, there's something about Chick-fil-A that they've done so well in their process where it brings you a consistent product. And consistency makes businesses. When you bring your bad energy or your bad, the things that are bad about your life into your business, you're not running a business. You're just creating an extension of yourself. So for me, I have to take everything good from me and put in my business, and everything bad and take it out. So that's why I love having a partner. Me and my partner are very different. He's more aggressive than me. I'm more passive. So every time we need someone that's more aggressive, he comes in and adds it to the business. When I need to be a little more gentle, passive, have some empathy, that's me. But then all the laziness and anxiety in this has to be taken out. The business has to be pure. It has to be like a perfect a being. That's basically what you're creating. And it's difficult because every single day you have to work on sharpening that knife, making sure it's never dull, because you have to put out a consistent result. And for us, I want us to be one of the most, not trendy. I guess the fact that we have like such a young culture, I think we add like a different twist with the content and the kind of stuff we put out. But I want people to really take it serious in the real estate field, because there's a lot of fucking money being made here. So it's like, how can I make it like a cool millennial touch, but still be taken serious by these 50-year-old people that own hedge funds? It's how do you attack both? How do you know when one is too much? How do you create that balance?
See, what's it like dealing with people that are owning hedge funds, man? Like, being 23, still 23, right?
Yeah.
Being 23 and you're dealing with people who are like 50 and 60,
yeah.
and their job is to move millions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's going to be that excitement that, holy shit, like, this is for real happening. But is there almost like a positive, like, intimidation? Because personally with me, I like to go towards intimidation. Like, whenever I'm in any environment, I like to go to where I'm intimidated, because a lot of people take intimidation negatively. But for me, I like to be intimidated, and I'm like, okay, what about this person intimidates me? And how can I get like them? How can I get up to speed? Not to intimidate someone else, but because why do I feel insecure around this person? Because they're obviously doing something better than me.
Yeah.
But then you have a bunch of people that are like, no, he's probably selling drugs, or he's probably cheating or scamming. It's probably like Wall Street happening up there, because they don't want to accept the fact that that person is ahead in, quote unquote, the race, life, whatever you want to say. So how do you deal with, these multi-million-dollar hedge fund managers? It's crazy, man.
It's very interesting you say that, actually, because I had an appointment with a seller the other day, and this guy was the first time I've ever been like intimidated. Like this type of dude, like he's so knowledgeable, you don't want to say anything around him. You know what I'm saying? It turned from me going to buy his house to him teaching me like about real estate and life and all that stuff. Like it's one of those dudes where like I don't know. I like what you said when you like when someone evokes a feeling on you instead of just feeling insecure. It's like, okay, why do I feel this feeling? What about them? What characteristics do they have that makes me feel this way? Because I want to be like them, you know? And I was intimidated. I think the fact that he was so knowledgeable and the fact that his eye contact was he would never not look away from you. You're talking, bro. Like if you look away, bro, he's following you. You know what I'm saying? I respected the fact that he's just in the conversation, it's just you and him type thing. And I even told him, I say, hey, I know a lot about this business, but I'm nervous talking to you because you're just in a whole new level. You know what I'm saying? I'm never afraid to let someone know that like I respect them for the fact that they're just way ahead of me, you know? When it comes to these hedge funds, I mean, honestly, I'm not intimidated at all because a lot of times I'm in a power position because I'm selling them a property. You know what I'm saying? They're coming to me to snatch a property from me that's going to make them thousands of dollars. So for me, I'm always in the power complex. You know, it's them saying, hey, I really want to buy this house. What can I do to buy this house? We can go see an inspector tomorrow. We can do this and do that. So to me, they're always coming to me. So it's not really, you know, whatever. And a lot of times it's through emails and phone calls. They don't really know that I'm 23. And a lot of times there's representatives that are, you know, representing that hedge fund. So it's not like I'm talking to the actual hedge fund manager. I'm usually talking to somebody that's an acquisition manager for that company. So it's never like I'm talking to a CEO really. And at the end of the day, you know, it's easy to fake confidence over the phone and emails and stuff. So it's never really gotten crazy. But as we want to go and like, you know, talk to the mayor and do, you know, land plots and go meet the CEOs of these hedge funds and stuff, that's, you know, where that may kind of take into effect. But at the end of the day, I've been in the business long enough to know that I deserve to be here. And you know, I'm backed by the knowledge of the business, so I don't get too nervous usually when it comes to talking to people that may have that higher edge, because I know that at the end of the day, you have to work with me to make money and vice versa. So, you know, it's nothing too much to be crazy about.
Okay. So probably like it doesn't matter what time, but in my life, I had a specific mentor. And one thing that mentor told me was he was talking about in life specifically, but he always related it back to business. And he said that in life, if you want to win, you always got to have leverage. You always
Mm-hmm.
want to keep leverage and you always want to play on leverage. And it's interesting that you said that they need me. They're buying
Yeah.
a house for me. How have you seen leverage play a key role in business? And not only that, but how do you try to set certain business deals, I guess we could say, or just opportunities to where
Yeah.
you have the most leverage?
Yeah, so leverage is super important. I mean, leverage changes every situation. So like for example, when you know we had this conversation with my partner, like when people come into our business and we give them a certain percentage, they'll make off each deal, right? And you know, sometimes people will say, "Hey, you know, why can't I make this much?" To me, it's always a no because you have no leverage. If you come into a business and you're new and you're relying on me to teach you, why would you ask for a higher percentage when you have no leverage? You've closed no deals, you've brought no ROI to the business, you haven't done anything for us. So what makes you feel like you have the leverage to negotiate, you know? So leverage is super important. I always try to hammer in on something that we can be really, really good on and that I can always say that we can add value for. So for me as a personal brand, you know, being a personal brand and knowing a lot about social media and knowing a lot about, you know, doing 6 figures online, whenever I come to someone, I can say, hey, you know, whatever you're doing in your business, I can double it by, you know, helping you, you know, ramp your social media. So for me, I'm always a social media guy. This is the guy, oh, you want to make money on social media, hit this guy up. So I always try to be excellent at something so I can always mention that and use it as a way for people to keep me around. Because to me, if you don't add any value, you're disposable. You're basically useless. If you and the next guy do the exact same thing,
What's the point?
you know what I'm saying? What's the point of keeping you both around? I'm gonna take one because you're the same and let's roll. You know what I'm saying? But if I can always add something that somebody else can't, then you cannot replace me. You can't dispose of me because you need me. You know, so I always try to learn a lot of skills and be at least excellent at something that most people aren't, because I always want to be in the mix. I don't ever want to be just disposable. So in our business, we're really good at marketing. You know, our email marketing is insane. Our buyers list is huge. The connections we have are really good. So for us, we have a lot of leverage because people come to us to get their deals sold because they see that we get deals sold in 24, 48 hours. So
Jeez.
we always use that leverage of we are a marketing powerhouse So you can go and try to market it yourself and maybe go through these faults. But if you come to us, we'll get it sold in 24 hours. So we always try to use that leverage, which is super important because all it is acquisitions and then selling side disposition. So disposition being how you actually make your money. We tried to hammer in on that so much that every situation that we're in, we can use that as leverage to get ourselves in the deal. We can say, hey, we can be the person that does disposition for this. Hey, we can be the person that finds the cash buyer, because if you're just like every other wholesale business, because pretty much every other investing wholesale business is the same. You have acquisition partners that acquire properties, and then you have people that do disposition, and you cold call and you text blast. Everyone does the same stuff. Nobody's that unique. So we try to, first be unique in the fact that we're trying to create an actual live brand, with content and, showing the faces of our partners and going like that. And then also the fact of hammering it on the disposition so people can, remember us by that. Say, oh, I know, DHA, those are the people that will get your deal sold quick. So we're trying to really hammer in on what we're good at and let everyone know that we're good at it so we can make a name for ourselves,
See, I
So
like that.
It's all about the consistency,
I like that. So for someone listening right now, that's what you want to give them. That not only obviously the skill you're providing, but to throw something in there that they're an expert at, and yours is social media.
Be excellent at something. You can say, hey, I can be a social media manager for you. Hey, I'm good at videography. Hey, I'm good at editing. Hey, I have a lot of time and I can do this. Hey, I have a lot of money. I can add capital. Hey, I have a lot of connections. I can bring some investors. What can you do? What can you add to the situation that nobody else can? I think we talked about this last time. I always talk about there's like 3 or 4 different things you should have: time, knowledge, connections, or money. You know what I'm saying? If you can't add capital, like when I was doing my flip, if I didn't have capital or expertise or time, why am I in the deal? You know what I'm saying? So for me, I didn't have, a lot of expertise in flipping, but I had a lot of time. I had a lot of money. So that's how I fit myself in the deal. I leveraged myself in the deal. How can you use me to the best of my ability? What can I add to the table? If you can't add anything, you shouldn't be sitting at the table. So many people are fine being mediocre, but want to find themselves in all these different situations. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not saying try to be a jack of all trades, but find something that you can be really good at. So when someone asks you, what can you do? You can say, I can do this. Now, I can do everything. I can do anything. That's not specific. Now you're making me think and give you a role on how you can help me. Just tell me how you can help me. I can edit your videos. You know what I'm saying? I can record for you. We can do a podcast together. I have money to give capital. I have connections. I have expertise. You know what I'm saying? Think about those things.
Okay, so you mentioned a really good point. You were talking about you need money, connections, capital, or knowledge. Yeah. And usually people are pretty good at the last 3, and they struggle with the money aspect, right? That's usually something that keeps a lot of people from getting up and going, starting their business, whatever it is. But you mentioned last time, but we didn't get into it. You were talking about even if you have capital, it's always good to leverage credit. And I've been seeing that, with something we'll get into real soon, but I don't want to mention it right now and go down that sort of credit type conversation. But as far as real estate goes, how have you been leveraging credit? And for people listening, how should they leverage credit in their business, in their ventures?
Yeah, so for us personally, I don't know if people are familiar with wholesaling or whatnot, but wholesaling, it doesn't really take us actually using our capital. So, we'll lock up a property for 100, sell it for 105, and we'll make our $5,000 at closing, so we don't actually put any money to that. When it comes into, the office, but everything that has to do with our business is on my credit card, so we spend about $5,000 to $6,000 a month. Everything is put on our credit card so we can, use those points to either do, vacations, for the team, or to buy gift cards for the team, or gas cards, or throw it back into business, whatever. So for me personally, right now what we're doing is we're getting into business credit. So we just got our business credit card, and that's what we're leveraging so we can get lines of credit for when we want to do flips. So, the whole credit thing is kind of easy with, how I explain. I just say, have as much credit as you can, credit line. So for me, I have about $40,000. So, for me, I can spend every expense I have on my credit card, pay it off, and at least I'm going to be getting XY amount of points, versus just using my debit card. It's a pretty simple concept. When it comes to business credit, you can get a little bit trickier. When you use your business credit card and these companies are seeing you paying it back and they see how much money you're making from your business, then you can start using lines of credit. So you might get a line of credit for $100,000. Now you can start using those money for flips, or to buy properties outright and undersell them and stuff like that. And it's usually a little bit cheaper than using a hard money lender or something like that. So when you're able to tap into business credit and get lines of credit where you don't pay them back unless you actually use the lines of credit, that's when you can start getting these, getting these big flips, flipping cars, flipping houses, construction loans. There's a whole lot you can get down to. But business credit is a little bit more difficult than, average personal credit or whatnot.
So you guys are looking into getting into the flipping? Because I was talking to somebody else, like Corey Lau.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how you were talking to him about getting involved in a flip. I don't know if that went through or not, especially with Corona, but you also mentioned flipping last time. Is that something that you're trying to like really make sure you have everything together before you do, because you have to sink capital into it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've done flips before. Me and my partner have done probably 4 or 5 flips between the two of us. We haven't done any recently just because we're kind of waiting to see what the market wants to do. We pretty much have our contractors, we have our hard money lenders, so we're pretty much set to go. We're just more focusing on wholesaling right now because it's very risk averse. I don't want to get caught in a flip and it takes 6 months to sell because the whole COVID-19 thing. So, flips is something we definitely want to add on to our business model, because I believe if you can do some flips in between your wholesaling, you can hit 7 figures. But for right now, we're focusing on wholesaling, and if a flip falls into our hand, we'll take it.
So what is an ideal flip? I know that's not something you guys are shooting for, but for someone listening, is the ideal flip a rundown property, like destroyed, and you guys renovate it, bring it back to market value, if not a little higher, and then sell it? Or is it just the minor things that catches the eye, the paint, the hardwood, dirty carpet?
Yeah. So really the latter. You can make a lot more money on the first one you said, when it's a total. I've seen people that love teardowns, people that love, fire damage properties. But, you have to have a lot of expertise to do things like that. And there's a lot more risk involved. There could be mold, there could be violations, there could be code enforcement, a lot of stuff that could go on. So right now I'm looking for cosmetic rehabs. Like my last rehab we did, I put $32,000 in it. You know what I'm saying? It took us, about 7 weeks to complete. I like deals like that because you can, it's easier to see the vision. There's not a whole lot that can go wrong. And it just keeps everything very, it's not as risky. Not to say that I'm, don't like risk, but for me, if I can go into a house and spend 5 weeks and put some new paint, some new carpet, some new backsplash, some new hardwood, stage it and sell it and make 40 grand, I'm happy with that, instead of spending 6 months and maybe making 80 grand. So sometimes you got to get in the market and get out and take your money until you can learn enough so you can be, have enough expertise to start doing these tear downs and these new constructions and, bigger rehabs like that. But there's just a lot more risk that goes into it. And of course, the bigger the rehab budget, the more money you have to spend. So for me, we're just starting small, doing cosmetic rehab, 60K rehab below, and then we'll start to make our way up.
Okay, so we've mentioned wholesaling a lot, but for someone who's just tuning in now, didn't watch the first episode, real estate agents, they obviously, help people buy and sell homes. Mm-hmm. But a wholesale contractor, I know what they do, you know what they do, but for a new person listening, what exactly is wholesale real estate?
Yeah. So, like you're saying, being a realtor, helping people buy and sell homes to make a 3% commission. It's more how they say on the books because you have a brokerage, you pay to the brokerage, whatever. So wholesaling, you're just being a middleman. And a lot of times you can make more money than a real estate agent, because I have my real estate license as well, but I don't even use it because wholesaling, you can make a lot of bread and really not even be as tied down. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to find the distressed homeowner, someone that needs to sell because they're in probate, which means that they might have inherited a house from someone that passed away, a house that's just vacant and is just collecting dust, someone that's going through pre-foreclosure, all the different type of stuff. So or someone that may be going through divorce. Let's say they're going through divorce and they need to liquidate their house, right? Let's say their house is worth $150,000, but they're willing to sell it to us for $110,000 if we can buy it cash and close next week, right? So what we'll do is we'll put that house under contract, which means, write a contract and say we're going to buy this house in the next 15 days, right? And then basically what we do, putting it under contract means that I have equitable rights, which means that I can either buy or assign the contract of this house the next 15 days. So the next 15 days, I'm going to find an end buyer that wants to buy it for, let's say, $125. And let's say we're looking to close on the 15th day. What we'll do is we'll take that end buyer who wants to buy it for $125 and we'll use their funds to buy it from the homeowner for $110. We'll actually then buy it and sell it instantly back to the end buyer. We'll collect our $15K fee. The end buyer gets the house, the seller sells the house, and we make our fee basically for connecting the seller and the end buyer. So we only hold on to the house for about 3 seconds. So again, we use the end buyer's funds to buy the property, sell it back to them, and then we collect the fee between what we got it under contract for and then what we sold it for. So a lot of time, and think if you're dealing with houses worth 100, 200K, think how easily you can slip in $5, $10, $15,000 and still everyone wins, So like I said, the biggest deal we ever did was $23,000. We got it for 32, sold it for 56 or something like that. Never saw the house sold in 7 days. You know what I'm saying?
God.
You have to sell close to $1 million house to make a commission like that, as a realtor. So, I mean, it can be really lucrative because real estate is so big. You can add a $5K fee in there and no one even notices. Make $5,000,
It's amazing.
Just being the middleman, and you're not using any of your own capital. All you're doing is finding investment opportunities and upselling them to fix and flippers, people who do rentals, people who do I don't know what that's on this. And then
I mean, you're investing your time though.
Yeah, you're investing a lot of time.
Very vital resource.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, since we have a business, we are, paying for payroll, we're paying for the office, we're paying, like I said, it costs about $5,000 to run the operation.
You're doing jumping jacks.
To run the operation to find those leads. You know what I'm saying? We have to buy lists. Like what we'll do is we'll buy lists, right, from public records. Let's say we'll buy a pre-foreclosure list, or we'll buy a vacancy owner list.
So you got to buy a list?
Yeah, so we'll buy a list of maybe 5,000 addresses that have been vacant for the past 6 months. And then we'll have to skip trace every single one of those lists, which basically means that we're going to go through a company that's going to try to use that address and find out who owns it and find their phone number. So there might be 4 phone numbers tied to each property because, skip tracing isn't 100%. But, there's some data we'll say, okay, cool. We, research this address and the owner's number is probably one of these 4 numbers, and then you call that number and say, hey, I saw your property, 123 Main Street. I was wondering if you're looking to sell. Yeah, I actually am. I live in California, but I have a house over there. I just want to get rid of it. That's the perfect situation. Someone that lives in California has a house here that's just collecting dust. They're paying, property taxes on it. They're looking to do nothing with it. They'll sell it for $60,000. If you can give them cash and close next week. It's all about convenience. So if you're looking to sell your house for the highest value ever, go with a realtor. They'll list it. You do showings. You spruce the house up. You list it on the market. It might take 30 days. You know what I'm saying? But we've done wholesale deals where we'll buy it cash for $60K and close in 5 days. So, and the thing is, since we're realtors and investors, we can give our clients both of those, options and say, hey, if your house is in decent condition, let's just fix it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We'll do some showings and we'll get it sold for $110. But if you want to take $90,000, we'll buy it next week. Cash.
Damn, and money talks. Man.
Yeah, and money talks. Some people,
green cash.
And if it's that big of a headache for them, they'll sell it for $90K. And then what we'll do is we'll sell it for $110 and make 20 bands.
Yeah.
Because now we can pretty much take as long as we want. So, it's just about finding out what situation they're in, what their motivation is, and how you can make it a win-win for them. If someone says, I need 110, okay, then that price is the most important thing for them. But they say, hey, I need to close in 2 weeks, and the price is adjustable, but they need to close in 2 weeks. So it's all about listening to the client and saying, okay, what's most important to them, and how can we assess the situation and be the most beneficial for them. Sometimes you can't make a deal, and that's fine. But it's all about listening and, okay, cool, what do they want? What do they need? What position are they in? And can we even make it a win-win situation?
My bad. Do you think you could bring this aim it at you? Yeah, if you just want to aim it at you.
There we go.
Hell yeah.
That good? Or turn this? Yeah. Oh, bad.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I know today you were gonna you had a closing, but you had an issue with the title. So what happened there?
Yeah, so this deal is gonna be wild. I'm actually gonna make another video on it, so I'll kind of briefly go into it. But basically, it's gonna be a triple close. Have you ever heard of a double closing when it comes to real estate?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so a double closing.
This is a triple?
Yeah.
Oh
so this
God.
is triple closing. I've never even heard of it. So a double closing.
Okay.
So there's 2 type of things you can do in a real estate transaction, for a wholesale deal. You can do an assignment or you can do a double closing. An assignment is where you will literally assign. So let's say I'm going to buy Stacy's house for $150,000, right?
Okay.
And let's say you want to buy Stacy's house for $155,000, right?
Okay.
You're a fix and flipper. I'm going to say, okay, cool. We'll do an assignment. I'm going to assign you the right to buy this house for $150,000 for $5,000, right? So you'll buy it for $150,000, but you'll give me $5,000 for me to give you that contract to buy it for $150,000. So let's say I had it for $150,000 and you were going to buy it for $160,000. You'd give me $10,000 as an assignment fee to have the opportunity to buy this house at $150,000, right? So when you do an assignment, there's no closing costs. You give me $10,000 straight. I'm out the deal. On the settlement sheet, it's going to say I made $10,000. When you're getting up with those fees where you're making $30,000, you might not be happy that I'm making $30,000 off of you, right? So sometimes doing a double closing is a little bit better because it hides that cost. So during an assignment, you're going to literally see on the settlement sheet, you're going to see it and the seller's going to see it. So you're both going to see that I made $30,000, right? And sometimes it's okay, but sometimes certain sellers, they're like, yo, I could have sold my house for $30,000 more, and they might, blow their shit. So that's when the assignment is. So if it's like $5K, $10K, I'll do an assignment because you'll understand the seller doesn't give a fuck. It's all good. Now, a double closing is where, like I was saying earlier, we'll use your funds to buy the house first. That's one closing. And then the second closing is us selling it back to you. So there's two different closings, one transaction, and then right after we buy the house, we sell it 5 seconds later.
Wait a sec. So you take someone's money,
Mm-hmm.
you use it to buy a house, and then you sell them that house for more money than they gave you?
Basically. So let's make it really simple. So
with their own money?
So let's say you wanted to buy a Jolly Rancher for $5, right?
Jolly Rancher.
So you want to buy a Jolly Rancher. I'm like, how much money you got? You say I got $5. But let's say I got a plug. They'll give me Jolly Ranchers for $4, right? So I say, hey, give me $5. I'll come back with the Jolly Rancher. So you give me $5. I go to my guy. I get it for $4. I keep that one, and then I give you the Jolly Rancher. So I made $1 for literally connecting you with Jolly Rancher plug. But I used your funds to buy the Jolly Rancher in the first place because I didn't have $5.
Oh, so that's just wholesaling.
Yeah, that's what wholesaling is.
So then what's the triple? Is the triple like...
So the double closing was doing those two. So now it gets even more difficult because it's a contract for deed, which basically means it's like a rent to own, right? Like a car. I mean, you lease to own, but it's a house that's rent to own. So basically, once this guy pays $20,000 through of rental income, he gets to own the house, but he doesn't actually own it yet. So where we contracted, my partner was driving for dollars, found this shitty house, called it. Guy wanted to sell. He didn't even tell us the whole deal. So I was confused because on the tax record, it didn't say that the guy owned the house. It said that this company owned the house. So I'm like, why does this LLC own the house when this guy lives in it? So we called them and they basically said, hey, we are a rent to own company. And once this guy, your seller, pays us $20,000, he will own the house. So he doesn't own the house yet, but if he pays $20,000, he will actually own the house at that point. So now it's a triple closing because we're going to have to...
Wait a sec, up front or of the rent?
Basically, so it's two. You can either pay 20 grand throughout X amount of years, or if you want to own it instantly, you can put 20 grand and own it. You know what I'm saying? Which most people don't, but... Yeah. But the thing is, we wanted to buy it cash. So we had to connect with everybody. We had to go figure out the lines. We had to go contact the company and figure out what's going on here. This guy says he owns the house. He lives in it, but he's not on the tax records. So what we have to do is get a warranty deed. Basically, the warranty deed says that the company is going to sell the house to our seller once he pays them the $20,000. And I think we're going to buy the house for $75,000 from him. So we're going to make about $50,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the $80,000 from the end buyer, and we're going to use that to pay the company their $20,000 so that Jasper can own the house. Our seller can own the house so that we can use the rest of the money to buy the house from Jasper that he just got from the people. And then once we own the house from him, then we're going to sell it to our end buyer.
Jesus Christ! So dude, there's levels to this shit.
So here it is. So I'm trying. I wish I could draw it out.
No, I understand it. I understand.
So I'm gonna say it one more time, people that don't understand. So we're taking the money, right, and we're going to pay the company, right?
All right. So let's say the company's Jacob. We're taking the money from Jake.
We're taking the money from our end buyer.
Okay, Jacob.
Yeah. So we're taking the money from Jacob to pay Bill. Right, and Bill's the company.
Mm-hmm.
So Bill's like, okay, cool, you paid me. Now Sasha, who's the seller, is going to own the house after you pay me. So we paid Bill from Jacob's money, and now Sasha owns the house, and now we're paying the rest of the money to Sasha. Now we own the house, and then now we're selling the house finally back to Jacob, who wanted the house in the first place. So it's going to be a triple closing because there's a lot of people involved. But a lot of people wouldn't have even thought of how can I make this work. They would have thought, okay, he doesn't own the house. We can't make it work. But we took the initiative to call the company and say, hey, we want to buy the house from you. And you also are incentivized to get paid from the person. So how about we pay you so you allow him to own the house. 2 seconds later, we'll buy it from him. We'll own it. And then we'll sell it to our end buyer.
Dude, I admire that.
So we're going to buy. So basically, we're going to have 3 different transactions within 30 seconds. We'll make $5,000 in this deal or whatever. It's decent. But it was a lot of thinking and, a lot of methods to actually get it to fruition. So what we were waiting on today was getting the payoff from the company. So basically the payoff is saying, okay, our seller owes exactly this much to the company to be able to own the property.
And then you get the title.
Yes.
Okay.
And then once we do that, then we pay that exact amount. We get the title. We go X, Y, and Z.
Look, man, I admire that because it's not only that's, there's levels and you got to think about, all right, well, how are we going to move the money? A lot of people don't go that far. A lot of people are like, damn, this guy doesn't even own the house. On to the next.
Exactly. They don't just think, how can I make it work? They say it won't work. We've done a lot of deals where it's like, these should not have worked out. A lot of deals where people came to us and said, hey, our previous buyer, didn't buy my house. You guys were the next people who called us. So let's close with you. Like the last deal we made 17 grand on, that was last week. She called us back and she said, and she wanted $185,000 for her house, right? We offered her 135 and she took it because she was that motivated to sell. She said, hey, and this is what we told her. I said, hey, miss, I know you want 185 because this other guy offered you 185, but he offered you 185 and didn't close. So just because someone offered you something doesn't mean that they're going to close and pay you. I could offer you 190,000, but if I don't close, it doesn't mean anything. So if you really want to get to the closing table, we can offer you 135 and close next week. And we did. We closed in 9 days. We made 17 grand off that deal. But some people would never even think, man, we're at 135. She's at 185. It'll never work. No, we made the call. We told her why 135 is the number. We informed her and she took it. That was one of the smoothest deals we ever did. We made 17K. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful deal, man. When someone else drops the ball and you pick it up and make money, it's beautiful, bro. She called us that day. She said, thank you. She made a big check. She made like 90 grand. So she was calling us, thanking us, our attorneys thanking us, because every time we close with our attorney, we close 2 times. And attorneys make money off selling insurance. So they sell insurance on the house we sold and the house we bought. So, it's just a win-win, bro. We made money. My partner made money. Our acquisition partner made money. The seller made money. The closing attorney made money. It's just a beautiful process to, when you get through it and everyone made money, and everyone's happy because wholesaling can be really grimy. People stealing deals, people coercing people lying. So when we can do a deal and make close to $20,000 fucking dollars and everyone is happy, it's just beautiful, man. I love the business.
Jeez, man. Congratulations on that one.
Thank you.
17 grand.
And that was it was last month. No, wait, what was that? No, yeah, sorry, that wasn't last week. That was like March 30th. So we like barely finished that out, during the coronavirus month. So it was beautiful, man.
So speaking of that, that's crazy. It's mid-corona, you guys are cashing out. Everyone's happy. I love it, dude. I love it because I feel the energy.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like you said, you can make the money, but then if, someone has to kind of take the end of the stick, you always kind of sit with that. You're like,
you can't feel good. It's not all money's good money. That's blood money, bro. I want money where everybody's smiling, you know? And all it takes is one, bro. You can do one deal and make $15,000. If you're a solo wholesaler and you made 15 grand, bro, you're chilling. So...
here, we talked to Will, right? And then the next day, Will gave you guys the seminar extravaganza, right?
Yeah.
And then I see you like 2 weeks later up at like 14 grand in Amazon sales. So I know you're very diverse and you adapt quick. So how did Amazon specifically, because obviously there was a downtime.
Yeah.
Corona hopped on the wave. Mm-hmm. How exactly did that work out for you?
I mean, so, first off, Will's the GOAT, man. He's got a great course, e-com degree,
Yes.
I think he has over 500 students now, so that speaks for itself. And obviously, he gave us a little extra sauce. He actually came over to the office and sat down with us and kind of put us on game. I'd already been kind of familiar with drop shipping, with Shopify stores, but Amazon's a whole different beast, bro. There's no marketing, there's no ads. Amazon literally is the powerhouse for you. So for me personally, like I said, I got the Midas touch. When I want something, I just go after it. So when Will taught us, the next day I'm on there getting my LLC. I'm on there, finding out the best credit cards to use for my store, finding out the best products, finding out how to do product research, and I was still going to the office every day. So what I did, I woke up at 4:00, and from 4 to 6, or like from 4 to 6:30, I would do Amazon, and then I would sleep again, and I wake up at 8 and then go to the office. For me, it wasn't even like I have a full-time real estate job, I can't do Amazon. For me, it was like, okay, wake up earlier, sleep later. Like it didn't even go through my mind that I can't do it. It was just like, find a way to do it. I just don't make excuses. I was doing product research from 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. And honestly, my first 2 products that I listed made me 17 grand in 7 days. You know what I'm saying? That was insane because Amazon brings the people to you. I mean, Amazon has millions of people every single day. All you have to do is find one product that's not copyrighted and that you can move and have the capital to actually pay for the products.
See, that's exactly what I was trying to get to. It's crazy how conversation works. That's the part that I've talked to other people about. I was talking to Will about, and I didn't really want to waste Will's time talking about this because we had more to talk about. But how does that process work? Because you have to invest in yourself. You got to pay for the product up front, right?
Yeah. So I actually had to cancel a lot of orders low key. So I ended up spending like $7,000. You know what I'm saying?
To make 15 or 14?
And I made like end of all like 12 or something like that. So yeah, I had to spend $7,000.
$5,000.
Yeah, I had to spend $7,000 in a week. You know what I'm saying? So I was just running my credit card up, and I paid a VA to actually have control of my account so she could, pay for the products for me. So that was like kind of scared, letting someone have access, because I was dropshipping from eBay actually. So I would give a VA, a virtual assistant, my eBay account, which had my card linked to it, so she can go and buy all these orders from me because I had like 700 orders. You know what I'm saying? So I was hoping she didn't finesse me, and she didn't. She was really cool. She was great. But yeah, I mean, in the retrospect, there's a lot that could have gone wrong. I could have had refunds. I could have whatever. But for me, it was like, I was actually kind of excited getting to spend that much money on my credit card. I got hella sky miles, and being able to leverage credit makes it a lot easier to get into business models that are cash heavy. So that's not a business model where you can be broke and just jump into it, which is why I liked it. I like high risk, high reward business models, and wholesaling is kind of the opposite because there's not a lot of risk. That's why everyone jumps in the game. You can do low money down. Oh, there's no risk. There's no whatever. Amazon, there's risk. It's your own capital. It's your own brand. It's your own Amazon account. So I like jumping on things where not a lot of other people can even play the game because they don't have the capital. But me, I have 40 grand in fucking credit card. You know what I'm saying? And credit card limit. So for me, I just went for it. In retrospect, when I went back, I'd maybe pick something with bigger profit margins because I mean, you can buy $5,000 worth of stuff and make $1,000, or you can spend $2,000 and make $2,000, on top of that. So there's a lot of stuff I learned, and I got a lot of refunds and some copyright strikes low key. So I didn't do it perfectly at all, but for me, I just jumped in the fucking game. I spent the money I had to make. I took my L's, and now when I get back in the game, I'm gonna know what to do. I didn't just spend 30 days studying and doing this. I just learned what I need to learn. I jumped in. I got burned a couple times, and now I know what to do. So many people just don't like. That's why I just don't have any excuses or any sympathy for people who just make excuses, bro. I have a whole fucking company that I ran, and I still did 17K in a fucking week. And some people probably never even opened their fucking course menu yet. You know what I'm saying? Like some people bought the course and have never even looked at it yet. Never even made their LLC yet because they're worried about this and that. Just jump in, man. Like, just jump in. I don't know. Nothing teaches you quicker than experience and getting burned and getting slapped and getting stomped on. You're like, oh, that shit hurt. But now I know what to do, instead of trying to, just tiptoe through all these, obstacles you got to go through. Just go through them, bro. For me, I'm just a very, I can't stand still. So I'd rather just run through it and get smacked and come back and do it again than just tiptoe and, maybe do it semi-perfectly. Because at the end of the day, you're going to take a loss anyway. So why not just get to that loss quicker, learn from it, and keep it moving,
So I don't know if you can talk about this because I don't know if it's ecom degree use specific or if we'll just, sauce the table. But what product?
So for my product, I was selling LED lights.
LED
So for
lights?
me, personally,
God damn it, bro.
think
My little sister bought LED lights. I helped her put
about
them
it.
up.
Think about
The
it.
ones that go in the room?
Exactly. Think about it.
Damn.
Everyone's where during quarantine? They're at their home, chilling. Let me decorate my room. Let me, do some self trimming. Let me, what I'm saying? It's quarantine. People are selling board games, books. I think of anything that has to do with home improvement or home stuff, it's gonna sell. And I have LED lights myself, so I'm like, shit. Me try to sell these LED lights, and they hit, bro. Like I was selling 100 units a day. It was going crazy. So
That's
I mean,
crazy.
sometimes it does just take that extra creativity of what's going on in today's world and what problem can I solve, So, I'm not a huge product research guru or whatever, but, luckily that was the first product I ever listed and it just hit. And I was selling like fertilizer. Those are my two products, fertilizer and LED lights. So it's not even like a lot of things need to be like the most awesome and weird product you'd never think about. Like, fertilizer. That's weird as hell. Like, I would never think that would sell, but it literally, Amazon gives you a rank and says, hey, this is the sales rank for this product in this category. And there's a little thing that Will has on his course where you can put that category in and the rank, and it tells you about how many units it's selling per month. So let's say you're going to make $3 profit off this item and it's selling 2,000 units a month. And let's say you're the second seller, so those 2,000 units are divided by you and the other person. $3 profit times 1,000, that's $3,000. You know what I'm saying? So you can do numbers like that to kind of do some product research. And what I like about Amazon drop shipping is you don't even buy the product until they purchase it from you. So there's almost no risk. You can just list a bunch of shit, see what hits, and send it out. So we're just in a world, man, where you can, I don't know, bro. You can just make money doing so much. So I just find it hard to believe that some people are still stuck on how do I make money. I know a lot of things take risk and not everybody has the exact same opportunity and expertise or whatever, but there's so many ways to learn. There's so many people willing to teach you. Like, I don't know. We're in a beautiful time, man, where you can hop on a new way to make money and make 17 grand a week. Like, this is unheard of, bro. There's people that are doing bigger numbers than that as well. So I'm just blessed to be like born in a time where we have ease of access to all these ways to create wealth for ourselves. And for me, I just feel selfish if I don't tap into all of it, So
I like that.
So shout out to Will, what I'm saying? And it's not like I need to be the e-com guy. People come to me and say, hey man, how'd you do that? Talk to Will, like, you know what I'm saying? I just follow what Will said. That's how I'm still not a genius. I just follow what Will said and it worked. Find people who are experts at what they do and follow what they say. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be the boss every time. You don't have to be the leader. Like, I can be humble. I can be a CEO and then I can be a student. It's fine. You can be a student and make hella bread. People just feel like they have to be like the top dog or this or that. You don't, bro. You can definitely follow trends and make a lot of money. Get in the market and get out. You don't have to be the guy that creates the new trend or the guy that leads the path every time,
Hey, man, a good leader is a good follower.
Exactly.
And one thing I always like to preach on the channel is that people always think that, when that opportunity comes, I'll be ready. When this happens, I'll be ready. They don't realize that it's all about having a list of habits that you apply in every situation.
Mm-hmm.
It always becomes second nature. And then those habits are what create the opportunity. And I feel like people just get so stuck on small aspects. Let me give you an example. I got a friend of mine, right? He had a podcast, but he mainly did media production.
Yeah.
So he went and got like $6-7 grand worth of equipment.
Sheesh.
And then started doing content, then started putting stuff out. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But when I was talking to him, I was just kind of like, bro, like what? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. He made the money back. And I mean, he leveraged it on credit and, he made the money back and now he's kind of moving on to a different thing that he's doing with his life. But it just kind of blew my mind because people just add too much to it. I was talking to this one guy. He's a CEO of a media company. They get investors for movies and Agency 850. And he was just saying that a lot of people, they just put these like criterias before they can even get going. Oh, I got to have the best equipment before I shoot a podcast. I got to
Exactly.
lose 10 pounds before we shoot the commercial. If the buyer doesn't call me back and agree for the price, I can't do the whole. They put all these mental blocks. And I feel like the thing that happens is not only do you miss your opportunity, but an opportunity never gets created because you're keeping yourself from it. So for a person right now who's just kind of creating a mental block, right? What would you say to them? What would you say if they were sitting here right now and they were like, but Dooley, I gotta wait until I have $2,000 to invest. I gotta wait until my mom's birthday and my girlfriend's.
Yeah, people. Well, firstly, man, you gotta really dig deep into yourself firstly and think like, why am I creating these mental blocks? Is it because I actually think these are true? Is it because someone told me they were true? Is it because I want an excuse to not try it because I'm scared of failing? Is it because I want an excuse to not try it because I'm scared of losing money or scared of not succeeding? There's always something that's subconscious. For me, it was the fear of not succeeding in the public light. You know what I'm saying? Like if DHA just fell apart, I would be pretty embarrassed because everyone knows that I have a business. You know what I'm saying? So someone just comes up to me and says, hey, how's DHA? Oh, it's dissolved. I'd be kind of embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? I'm like a semi-public figure. So to not succeed or to fail in a public light is scary. So I could tell myself, I'm not going to start THA until I do this, do that, do that. You know what I'm saying? But at the back of my mind, I have to realize why I'm putting these mental blocks is to be okay with not doing it, because the real reason I'm not doing it is because of X, Y, and Z. But I say the second thing I tell them is just, don't let perfection stop you from starting. You know what I'm saying? Because there's people that have a lot worse equipment and are not as in shape or whatever that are still making money and still making moves, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, like I said, it goes back to the first thing, just having that mental block that is created by something else. A lot of people are scared to fail or scared to start, so they use these other excuses as a way to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of make themselves or validate the fact that they're not going after what they want to go after. You know what I'm saying? Like, just start with what you have. And if it starts to blow up, then start scaling. But if you're going to wait until everything's perfect, you'll wait forever because nothing's ever going to be perfect. I was the same with myself. I'm not going to put out content until the font's perfect, until the video is perfect, until I say everything perfectly, until we have all the best equipment, until I have this and that and that. But at the end of the day, you just got to start, bro. You just got to start. Just start and get better as you go, because a lot of people just waste. Like, I've seen people waste time on the stupidest things, bro. On like, I don't know what my logo is going to be. I don't know what the name's going to be. And I always say the same thing, bro. Google is $1 billion company and Google's not even a fucking word. Yahoo, Netflix, those are not even words. Yet, they think they were in the back of my mind.
They're words now.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what the work speaks for itself. If you put in the work and you do it consistently and do it well, people are not going to care about your logo or how you look or this or that. They're going to care about the content, So if you're worried about all these other things, you're worrying the wrong things, bro. You got to worry about what the meat is, what the consistency is. You know what I'm saying? You can have the best logo and name in the world, but if your product sucks, no one's going to buy it just because the name's good. Just because the subtitling is perfect, just because the camera quality is good. Like, this podcast sucks. They don't talk about anything interesting, but the camera's good, so I'm going to keep watching it. No. I'd rather
the lens.
You know what I'm saying? People just, they focus on the wrong things because all that matters is the actual product. And, I'm not going to say that a better camera or better microphone is not going to make certain things sound better, you know what I'm saying, or not make it better in the future. But to completely stop yourself from even starting it because you don't have everything perfect, it's just going to set you back. The amount that you would learn or the amount of traction you gain starting 3 months earlier might pay for the stuff that you want to buy to make it perfect, So, allowing perfection to stop yourself from starting is, I've seen it a lot and I've done it myself. But it always goes back to, what is the real reason I'm not starting? I can say, hey, the real reason I'm not starting, I can say I don't want to start a podcast because I don't have the best microphone, but really I'm just subconscious about how I look or how I talk or how I speak, but we're just not looking deep enough into ourselves and say, okay, what's the real reason, So I just think a lot of times we put on a facade or we put on a mask to really, stretch ourselves away from what we really feel, what we're really doing, when we use this perfection, veil to kind of validate that, but at the end of the day, it's all just BS, man, because you got to start. I've seen a lot of people with terrible production, but the information is solid, and I watch it. And now, especially with podcasts, I mean, like literally iPhones and like
So easy.
Like there's content can be created so easily now, bro. Like you can create a whole freaking picture through Instagram editor now. Like I don't know. There's no excuse for me to not just put content out there. There's so many free tools, so many YouTube videos to teach you everything. Like I don't know, that the ease of access for information is just astounding. So man, just gotta go for it.
It's fantastic, man. So I always like to get to this part, and last time we spoke about this, talked about this,
Yeah.
and now we're here, King and Queen building. So let's take the next step. What do we expect to see from Agent Dooley, the guy himself, the fucking legend, moving forward?
Sheesh, man, that's crazy because I really just been thinking about being here. Now we're here, so it's like, what's next? Like you were saying. So I mean, the first thing is it's going to be scaling the business, creating consistency. We still have those on and off weeks where some week we're on fire, next week we're not. So it's not like I'm an established business that's just there. You know what I'm saying? Every day I'm working. Like even today, me and my partner sat in this room and had a one-on-one to say, how can we hold ourselves accountable for the things that are going wrong in our business and how can we fix them? Every week or so, we like to sit down and just face facts of what's going on. So really, bringing on another acquisition partner. We have 2 killers right now that come to the office about every day. They're on payroll, and they kill it. So we're looking to add one more savage that can just kill it on the phones. Adding one more VA, really hitting 50 to 100K consistently every single month. And then, maybe getting another office, but that's not really the biggest thing, or maybe getting a bigger office in the same plaza or whatnot. But, so yeah, I guess the biggest thing, which you can't really like see, is just making our business more stable, making it more consistent, and really finding our KPIs, our key performing, key performing indicators or whatever, really breaking down for our business. Okay, how many calls do we need to make to get a homeowner? How many homeowners do we need to get on the phone to find a deal? How many deals do we need to make X amount? So I'm really trying to generalize our business so we know exactly what has to be done to make the money that we want to make. It's not just, we're just going to call until we get a deal and then just hope it happens. But how many hours do we need to call to reach X amount of people? How many people do not answer? How many voicemails do we need to leave? How many text blasts we need to do? How many offers do we need to make? How many appointments do we need to go on to see the results that we have? And once we see that, okay, cool. So if we want to make, from 50 to 100, we double that. If you want to make 100 to 200, we quadruple that, So just really digging into the numbers of the business and using that to make it more consistent. And, hopefully doing a lot more on the content side with building our brand and collaborating with other investment companies, maybe doing some events that are sponsored by us. Releasing some of our podcast videos, doing some networking events that we're going to and stuff. So really just, bringing the brand alive and, trying to be more mainstream with it. So hopefully you guys will see a lot more content from us, a lot more videos, a lot more, closing statements and, seeing us at the closing table, man.
Hey, man, we've been supporting since day one. We're going to continue to be supporting. But for somebody who's new right now, how can they get involved? What are the social media pages, the courses? How can they follow you, contact you, whatever it may be? How can they get involved with you? If you just want to take a moment, shout out all the platforms.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me. I do most of my stuff on Instagram and Twitter. I've actually been fucking with Twitter a lot lately. So my Twitter is Dooley Agent, Dooley Agent. My Instagram is Agent Dooley. I post on those pretty much every day. Pretty much you can just follow me there. And then you can go to my our business page, which is DH, like D as in diamond, H as in home, acquisitions.com. You can apply for positions there. You can see some of the houses that we're working on. You can see some of the deals we've done. Yeah, those are going to be the 3 things you can find me on. I'm always available to chop it up and make some money and see how we can work together. So again, Instagram, Agent Dooley, Twitter Dooley, Dooley Agent, and then our website is dhacquisitions.com. So reach out, man, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you guys.
Hey, man, we know you're a very busy guy. I just want to go ahead and thank you for your time. This won't be the last one. And you know what? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know we all got something out of this, but until next time, stay tuned.
We out.